Hello, my dear friends. Hello, Germany. Hello, Europe. My name is Aleksei Bluhmberg. I'm from Germany, from Berlin. And we have today a very, very special guest here. We are in Moscow. Mr. Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is a world-leading business expert and the best-selling author.
Guten Morgen, доброе утро.
Yeah, we are now in Moscow. Brian Tracy have made yesterday a great seminar on the Top Management Forum. It was a really great time. I was there by myself, so I'm really, really motivated right now. And I would like to ask Brian Tracy a few questions. As you probably already know, on the 4th of October 2018, this year, we invited Brian Tracy to Germany, to Düsseldorf, to a quite big event. It will be the Business Progress Seminar, where Brian Tracy will talk about high-performing selling and leadership. And I would like to ask Brian a few questions today. Brian, hello, and
Hello, guten Tag.
I'm nice to meet you. Thank you. Yeah, Brian speaks a little bit German. Sie sprechen auch ein bisschen Deutsch.
Ein bisschen Deutsch, vielleicht ein viel bisschen Deutsch.
Viel ein bisschen Deutsch, ja. But we will talk today on English, so it will be more easier for Brian. Brian, you say that those who possess your 7 skills of sales, many of them have already become millionaires.
Yes.
Can you name these 7 skills, please?
Yes. Well, as we talked before, the biggest companies and universities have spent millions of dollars and 20 and 25 years studying the sales process like an animal in a research laboratory and taking it apart. And one of the best studies, they interviewed 55,000 customers and they videotaped 55,000 sales calls with the salesperson and the customer. And they used split screen so that they could play back the sales conversation and they could watch what the salesperson said and how the customer reacted. And then they would measure how many of these conversations turned into sales. How many customers said yes? And then they would ask the customer, why did you decide to buy? If the customer said no, they would say, why did you decide not to buy? If the customer said no at this time, but later the customer said yes, they said, what had to happen before you bought? And what they found is that there are 7 steps, and you have to follow these steps in order, like a recipe in the kitchen. The example that I use is like 7 numbers in a telephone. Is you want to phone somebody, and someone here says, here are the 7 numbers. Here's how you phone. You push in the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you always get through. If this person is in Shanghai or Sao Paulo, anywhere in the world, the phone goes through. If you have the right numbers, but you must have the right numbers in the right order. If you have all the right numbers, but you make a mistake and you get the numbers out of order. So instead of phoning in order, you phone and you make a mistake. You can dial forever. You'll never get through. You can have the finest telephone in the world. You can be the nicest person in the world. You can be sincere and you can work hard all day. But if you have the right numbers in the wrong order, you will fail. So this is what I found. And the 7 keys are very simple. Number 1 is prospecting. And that means you talk to the right people who can buy your product soon. And you don't spend time with people who do not want and who cannot use and who cannot afford your product. And this is a complete section which I teach. The second part of selling is building trust. So that once you have determined that this person can buy your product, they have the money, and they have the need, then you focus all your attention on building trust by asking questions and learning more about the other person. Step number 3 is you then move to identifying customer needs accurately. What does this customer really need to be happy and more successful? How can you help them? And like a doctor, this is where you do the examination, the diagnosis, and the prescription. And once it's clear to the customer and it's clear to you, this is called the opening of the sale. Once it's clear to you, then you say, I think, based on what you've said, we have something that you will like. Let me show you. And then you go to stage 4. And in stage 4, you explain the product or service. We call this the inner game of selling. All sales are made in the presentation. The first 3 or 4 steps are planning, preparation, but the sale is made in step 4. This is where you show the customer that they can improve their life faster and at a lower cost with your product or service, and it's safe to buy because you will guarantee it and so on. Step number 5 is you answer objections. We find that even the most happy potential customer has objections. They have questions. And what we found with the 55,000 videos is that good customers object twice as much as poor customers. Good customers object. They say, what about this and what about that? And they say it costs too much and I can get it cheaper somewhere else. What this means is they're becoming more and more interested in buying your product, and they want to be safe. The reason they ask questions is they want to be sure that they're making a good decision. Step number 6 is where you close the sale. You ask the customer to make a decision to buy your product now. And I designed a program called The Art of Closing the Sale. And this program is now on Amazon, it's now in Netflix, it's everywhere. And I designed a book and an audio program, CD, and a video program. And it's the very best, 24 very best ways to ask the customer to buy. And there's no pressure. It's just simply conversational ways. The most powerful sales closing technique of all, number 1, is this, is you say to the customer, do you like what I have shown you so far? And the customer says, yes, it looks good. You say, then why don't you buy it? The customer says, okay. No pressure, no stress. The customer says, okay. Or they will say, well, what about this or what about that? In order to be safe, you say, there's a good answer for that. Here's the answer. Are you happy with the answer? Good. Then why don't you give it a try? Why don't you give it a try? If you're not happy, we'll give you your money back. Okay. And people make sales all day long. So now the 7th part of the sales process is to service the customer with your product or service and make the customer so happy that they don't feel that they have made a mistake and change their mind. And then take care of them, take care of the customer, and ask them for referrals and recommendations. Now, a referral from a happy customer is 15 times more valuable than calling and finding a new customer in the first place. It's 15 times easier, because if you recommend to me that I buy a product or a book or go to a movie or a restaurant, and you say, this is very good, then I say, okay, I don't argue. I know you. I like you. I trust you. If you say it's a good idea, I will do it. So when you give a referral or recommendation, the person says, okay, and 90% of the sale is already made. So good salespeople are always taking such good care of their customers that the customer thinks, I want my friends to have this same service. I want my friends to have the same improvement. I want my friends to work with Alex, because Alex takes good care of me, and Alex will take care of my friends. And your customers become your sales team. Your customers are always selling for you. They're always bringing their friends to help you to make the sale. And that's how salespeople become rich. You cannot become rich making one sale at a time, starting from the beginning. You have to make resales to happy customers who buy again and again, and then who refer you to their friends. So those are the 7 steps. Let me repeat. First of all, prospecting, which means starting and speaking to the right people. And there's a way of determining this. Second of all is building high levels of trust. There's a way of doing this. The third of all is asking questions so you understand the customer very well so that you can help them. The fourth step is to show them that your product or service is the best choice for them at this time. The fifth step is to answer their objections or questions. The sixth step is to close the sale and get them to say yes. And then the seventh step is where you really, really go to work to take such good care of them that they buy again and they bring their friends.
Well, that was a really very useful tips
And
that you gave me.
This is a one-day seminar with a workbook, and when people walk away, they change their lives and become rich.
Well, I can't wait to visit you on your seminar in Germany. And well, that was Brian Tracy, personally from United States here in Moscow. We are now in Moscow. But if you would like to earn more money, to have a more profit, 20-30% in the next 6 months, if you want to become rich, or if you are the sales manager and you want to make your company rich, to reach all your goals of your directors or of your top managers, or if you are somebody who have a great idea and you don't know how to start a business and how to become rich as well. So we're waiting for you on the 4th of October 2018 in Düsseldorf in Maritime Congress Center, personally with Brian Tracy, and get inspired, and that will be the greatest and the best seminar since last 10 years you have ever seen in Germany and the neighbor countries, Switzerland, Austria, and probably in Europe. Thank you very much, Brian Tracy. It was a pleasure to meet you and to see you here, and see you in Germany.
Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you.